Hello, I'm Jashikins, and welcome to another episode of The Raven Speaks. The Raven Speaks is a series of videos about a variety of subject and is not intended for kids. Okay, sorry, I just realized in the script there I had put an extra space. Yeah, thought I would cut it, editing it a few times. So anyways, new episodes will be released when I have the time and when I can keep quiet about a topic. Feel free to comment below to suggest the topic for a future episode. And I really do want to eventually have The Raven Speaks to just be episodes suggested by viewers like yourself. So, if you have something you want me to talk about, don't be afraid to just comment below. Anyways, on to today's video. Animorphs is my favorite book series of all time, and I think it deserves a lot more recognition than it's gotten. While Harry Potter is awesome, it doesn't hold a candle to the risks Animorphs took. But even though I love Animorphs, I do have problems with two of the books. The one I'm going to talk about today is Animorphs number 28, The Experiment. Due to things that just don't make sense in terms of how dark the series usually gets, and the fact it utterly fails to hold up to logic, I tend to think of the book as non-canon, and so have made up a headcanon so I can sleep at night. The headcanon basically goes that Axe got high off some drugs and so is very unreliable as a narrator. So when it's revealed that the Yeerks' plan of removing free will from humans failed because you can't mess with free will, that's a lie. But as Visher 1 mentions the failed plan later in the series, how can my headcanon have any chance of being right? Part 1. The spiritual concept of free will. People tend to think that free will is something separate from the physical body. It's like a soul in that sense, something that people can't describe, but instantly know it exists. Since free will is separate from the body, it ensures that if you want something, you can achieve it. Such as if you actually want to stop smoking, you can do it if you want it badly enough. If you want to go shopping, you can stay at home. One extremely common example that people like me suffering from depression will understand is because of free will, people think that others can make themselves happy, that those suffering from depression just have to go outside and suddenly they'll be happy, which is not actually the case. The truth is, no matter how much we'd like to deny it, we are very dependent on the physical state of our brains. Part 2. How the brain affects free will. The truth of the matter is that the physical state of your brain affects free will. I know that doesn't exactly sound happy, as it puts limits on what we can do. Such as in cases with depression, people's ability to process the world is tampered with. A lack of serotonin can mean that a person is depressed, and simply thinking happy thoughts or doing fun things won't change that. This due to the fact that Going for a long walk won't suddenly make enough serotonin to make depression go away. If you're depressed, exercising can help, but it won't suddenly make you super happy and cure your depression. In more intense cases of things being messed up in the brain, people's ability to perceive reality can be ruined to the point they live a fantasy. Maybe they hear noises that aren't there or believe people are after them. People like that aren't choosing to not see reality. Their brains aren't giving them an option. If your brain is currently healthy, that can change. Phineas Gage's brain was seriously injured after an accident via an iron rod going through his head. While he survived, his personality changed. Now, we still have free will and can choose what we do in life. It's just that the physical state of our brain gives us certain barriers that makes being a good person a little bit harder. Part 3. The Yeerks plan to eliminate free will. Sorry, my birds are like causing a ruckus in the background. Hey Google, broadcast message.
What's the message?
Guys, behave.
Okay, broadcasting now.
So yeah, that's the fun thing with pets. They do things that you don't know. There's sort of a little rivalry between the cockatiels and the parakeets. So yeah. So yeah. But don't worry, the parakeets are in their cage while the cockatiels are let out, and vice versa. So don't worry. Just, I want them to be calm and friendly with each other. But anyways, let's back to this video and, get back on topic. Let's get back on track here, folks. Part 3. The Yeerks plan to eliminate free will. The Yeerks decide that they want to make humans more docile so that they could have better control over them, thus taking away free will. While no host has ever managed to completely overpower a Yeerk, a rebellious host can temporarily take control, thus causing problems for their Yeerks. And those Yeerks that are in high-ranking positions on Earth can't lose control, or their host... Oh, sorry, I was shortening that sentence. I was re-editing while reading. So let's start that. Let's start that again, folks. And those Yeerks that are in high-ranking positions on Earth can't lose control of their hosts, or else their cover might be blown. If not fully blown, at least to the point their host will no longer hold the same position. In the books, we've seen Tom resist his Yeerk just enough to give Jake a warning. Mr. and Mrs. Chapman both resisted their Yeerks when their daughter was threatened with infestation. Successfully taming human hosts would mean the Yeerks could eventually tame other hosts. So, when the Yeerks went to invade the Andalite homeworld, they wouldn't need to fear their former enemies giving them too many problems. Because if things went differently, I'm sure Visher 3 wouldn't be the only one with an Andalite host. So the Yeerks, who aren't bioengineers, decided to take on the daunting task of figuring out how to manipulate a human brain. Part 4. What actually made the Yeerks plan a failure. Since Axe was drugged in number 28, we know not to trust everything he says. He isn't lying, he's just unable to recall the events of the book in detail. If you want to take the conceit of the series into account, he might have only taken drugs while writing number 28 and not when the events occurred. And because he's an unreliable narrator, we know that the Yeerks experiments didn't fail because free will is something that isn't affected by the physical world. Instead, the Yeerks plan failed because they aren't great at bioengineering. They had a few successes so they could infest horses and control hammerhead sharks, but their successes are few and far between. So, since they aren't good at bioengineering, they can't hope to figure out the human brain well enough to change it. While we can tell different things about the physical state of our brains, the topic of consciousness and what exactly it is still up for debate. So, if the smartest humans on Earth can't tell us how we think, how does an alien race have any hope? Now, you might start to question the Yeerks' incompetence when it comes to brains, as well, they spend a good amount of their time wrapped around their host brains. The thing is, just because you spend a lot of your time around something, it doesn't mean you know all the fine details about it. Such as, even though I've owned birds for around 10 years now, as of filming this video, I have two cockatiels, Navi and Jorah. Navi's older and adopted, Jorah's like maybe 8 months old now and store bought. And two parakeets, Peep and Ghost. Peep's the older one and was adopted from a friend who couldn't take care of him anymore, and Peep's older and Ghost is younger and store bought. Anyways, in that time, I have learned within the first month of owning birds, probably maybe a few days or a week, but yeah, I love when I try to edit my own scripts while filming. This is great. Okay, let's start that again. In that time, I have learned within the first month of owning birds that they don't pee. However, to figure out why, I need to look up why their excrement is combined into one poop. And yeah, that's like in my own head when I have a scenario of how can you work with something and not know exactly all that it does, the first thing I turn to is that poop example. Hence it finally made its way into one of my videos. So yay. So problems most likely arose when they tried to make humans more docile. It could be that the Yeerks accidentally made humans more aggressive, or maybe their attempts affected the human body in some other unintended way, such as it being easier for humans to get fat. As the Yeerks are fighting a war, a host too fat to fight well wouldn't be a good thing. And by too fat, I mean such a weight that a person couldn't move fast and could cause a lot of medical conditions. And yes, too fat would differ from person to person due to body type. Part 5. And about the too fat, that's only about fighting a war. Don't worry, your weight is fine. You are a beautiful person. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you, yeah. Part 5. The Yeerks were embarrassed. After the failure of the experiments, the Yeerks lied about the results. They denied that there was any chance of ever erasing free will from humans or any species. They lied so thoroughly that they even believed their own lies. While some Yeerks did think that the experiments should be started again because taking away free will can happen, others had different ideas. However, as Fisher 3 was in charge of the secret invasion of Earth, they wouldn't voice their opinions out loud, just like many didn't voice their opinions that the Andalite bandits weren't really Andalites. So, I'm going to move the feed back into the main screen and turn off the secondary screen, and that's the video. So, what do you think? What do you think, about my headcanon for Animorphs 28, The Experiment? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Also, what do you think about Animorphs number 28? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you have any problems with it? And that's it for today. But, again, comment down below and let me know what you'd like me to talk about on the next episode of The Raven Speaks. I'd really start liking to do these videos about topics that you are actually interested in. I'll only know what you're interested in once you comment down below. And if you're watching this on the YouTubes, please like this video to mess with the YouTube algorithm, so hopefully more people will be able to see this video. And also subscribe so that you get more episodes of The Raven Speaks. I just don't do Animorphs, I do Game of Thrones, I do a bunch of other things. And also, if you're on my blog and the desktop version of my blog, please choose the follow by email option so you never miss out on anything I do. And on my blog, on May 23rd, I will be releasing my latest long post. So, subscribe by email so you don't miss that out once it's released. And bye. Stay safe.